Alright. What's up, everybody, and welcome back with ourselves. SCARLETT down here in the bottom right side of the map playing HomeStory Cup up against REYNOR in the top left for Basilisk. Basilisk against Shopifying Rebellion. It's a match made in heaven, and REYNOR, of course, is playing Protoss. For those who don't know, REYNOR has been off racing Protoss a lot recently. He's been having a lot of fun with it. He basically has, said, hey, I'm not practicing as much lately. I'm not as in practice. I think he has been grinding a bit leading into Atlanta. But he definitely does feel like his Zerg versus Zerg is not so up to scratch. So if he's playing a Zerg player, there's a pretty high chance that he's going to play Protoss. And it does always feel like REYNOR with Protoss, even when he's not totally up to scratch, if he survives to a certain point in the game, he has a monstrous economy, and his micro can be very good on the offense as well. I'd say it's his defense, and especially of surprising early and early mid-game timings that can catch him off. Not to mention, sometimes his denial of Zerg scouting can be a little limited. We'll see how it plays out, though. He has gone for that delayed scout into the second gas there, the second pylon, and almost always it is an Oracle opening for REYNOR. Very rarely do you see him mix in something weird like a Glaive Adept or a Robo opening. He doesn't have a lot of range. That's one of his big weaknesses as a Protoss player. But, of course, it's still going to be difficult for SCARLETT. If I was SCARLETT, I would actually... I think one of the big hurdles is... Not that I'm saying she has a particularly big ego, but overcoming your ego is always difficult against a player who's off-racing, even if you know they're a top-tier player like REYNOR, who's beaten the best in the world with his Protoss. So I'd like to see SCARLETT just kind of say, you know what, I'm looking for timing attacks. We know REYNOR has a weakness. There's a lot of big attacks that can kill him. Throw your Queen walks out. Throw your big surprise Mutalisk switches in. Throw your Roachling Queen Nidus Worms out at him. Do not be letting REYNOR have a smooth, uninterrupted opening. And this is already a good way to start, is sneaking 2 Lings across the map to slow down his mining. He had to pull his probes away, and she's going to go up into that main base. Now, going after these gas probes, not a bad idea, but you don't want to get surrounded. Oh, SCARLETT not watching there. She was looking back here at the Adept that was shading in. REYNOR was kind of busy at home microing a fantastic surround, but he does have to run this Adept out of there. The Queen's going to try and get as much damage on that Adept as she can. Good stutter step by SCARLETT. Really nice timing on the Queen as well. A lot of people stutter step the Queens a bit too quickly, so they don't get both full attacks off. But there we go. Yes, she loses a creep tumor. But you know what? I think that's okay. Having the 2 Zerglings surrounded is an unfortunate maneuver. If you guys are ever wanting to send your Zerglings into harass, but you're worried about that, shift-click them to move here and then here. That way they'll naturally attack the probes from these little choke points from either there or there, and they can't as easily surround them because there's no way to mineral walk them. But if you come from here, they just need to grab these probes, click on the minerals on the natural, and they will phase through your Zerglings. They can immediately follow it with an attack move and surround you. And that is exactly what REYNOR did there. Zergling denial does get taken down. Very safe Oracle defending the third base there for REYNOR. And SCARLETT just holding those drone keys down. She's got 4 Queens, about to be 6. No Spore Crawlers, except they're in the natural just yet. We've got a big squid flying around this side of the map as well. SCARLETT's shown some moments of absolute brilliance recently. I always feel, though, SCARLETT's at her most dangerous in this matchup when she's got a very good plan from the start of the game. I like her being decisive and aggressive, and I feel in general, Protoss is always a kind of overpowered versus Zerg if the Zerg just sits there and chills. But if the Zerg does a lot of wildly varying, unpredictable attacks, dark, then it's very hard to know exactly what the Zerg's going to throw at you, and it's very hard to defend at them. Dark's my spirit animal when it comes to this matchup, because the man is often behind and still winning. If you can consistently beat your opponents from behind, well, there's something to be learned from that, and it is hiding your all-ins very, very well and surprising your opponent. That being said, she's got a clean opening. I mean, I can't be hating on this. The only problem is her Roach Warren is insanely late. She goes Lair, Roach Warren, Evo Chamber at 5 minutes. That's only a problem if there's some sort of Glaive Adept or Charge Lot pressure coming in. There is not. And in fact, is this 2-star Phoenix? Oh, it is. Oracles fly in. They get 2 drones. Good defense by SCARLETT. She pulls those away. Apologies if I call SCARLETT REYNOR at some point in this game. I am used to REYNOR being the Zerg on the receiving side of the Oracles. But besides my brain getting a little confused once or twice, hopefully we'll be able to stabilize. It's funny as well because SCARLETT's an exceptionally good Protoss off-racer as well. And she's actually the OG Protoss off-racer. So that's something where it's weird that I'm not even mentioning that till now, this deep in the cast, because it's like, hey, REYNOR's the off-race guy. It's like, hey, no, SCARLETT started that. Even when I ran my Who is the StarCraft Master Tournament back in 2018, Guess who won? Scarlett won. She beat REYNOR in the semifinals. They had an action-packed semifinals, and that was a tournament where you had to play every matchup. So they had to play TVT, PvP, PvT from both sides of every matchup. So it's a best of 9, and it was pretty close. But because she beat REYNOR in the Zerg vs Zerg, I believe, or actually maybe he beat her in the Zerg vs Zerg, but she was winning all of like the off-race matchups. Actually, it's a long time ago, but yeah, he's improved leaps and bounds since then. And he is very hard to stop. Now, is she going to play Lurker Hive by the looks of it? Interesting. And he's going 2-star Phoenix into double Robo. Wait, what? And he's still banking Phoenix. Okay, surely you got to go now, mate. He's chronoing there, but he didn't quite have the gas. He's going to wait for 10 Phoenix. She's got 7 queens. Okay, she's going to see. As the Overseer comes in, she's going to have to grab all of her queens. Pull them back, pull them back, pull them back. She needs to drop extra spores out here in the middle. If she doesn't get a spore or 2 out front, her queens are going to struggle to gather up. So she's building another spore there. She's got a Hydra Den almost finished. If she can get a big pack of Hydras out, that'll help. She's got a big worker count. She's got to keep those queens sacred. Keep them safe. Keep them sacred. Keep them safe. Sacred? It's secret. Come on, mate. Though, I mean, the ring is very precious. But anyways, Ling Roach coming in for a counterattack. This could actually ruin REYNOR right now. He's got a lot of energy on these oracles. No roach speed here for Scarlett, but I think this is a great attack for her. Those Adepts taking big damage in the middle lane. She's going to surround these units in the open. The Phoenix will come back to defend. But how much damage is REYNOR going to take in the meantime? Well, the roaches will go down very quickly to these Phoenix. I think that's still a dead 4th base. And he's going to have to cancel that. Good move by Scarlett. Wouldn't mind her just running home now. You might think, why not continue doing damage? Well, I think there's an argument. She could have continued doing damage the whole time and focused on killing workers in that third. May have been the higher impact damage. It's always a little risky. You really want to surround the gateway units so that they're not just chipping down your army. Now, she's building more spores, which I do find a little odd. I do find it a little odd right now. I feel like she should probably be going into Hydras sooner rather than later, but because there's so many Phoenix out, she kind of doesn't want to have 2 or 3 Hydras pop and just die. Her Lings are going to continue to stay active on the map. She will find out about the double Robo Immortal soon enough if she runs up that ramp. 4th base rebuilding right now for REYNOR. 3 Infestors on the way for Scarlett. They're specifically to catch the Phoenix. You can land Fungal Viper combo, the Parasitic Bomb, and the Fungal Wombo combo. That can be fantastic. +2 range on the way for Scarlett. She's on 96 workers. The big problem against Phoenix is them keeping your worker count below a certain amount, so you can't get out from underneath it. She's not in that position, and REYNOR is in fact stuck now in this middle stage of the game for a long time. He can't kill her. I actually feel like if she went Broodlords, it might be like a checkmate. That being said, Lurkers can still do really well. It's all going to be about the positioning. Because he's got a good Immortal count, REYNOR may be able to flank the Lurkers and deal with them. Oh, accidentally leaves a Phoenix behind there. Almost loses that one. The Hydras and the Queens have got to be very cautious. Infestors come forward. I mean, they get a nice Fungal, but on its own, Fungal doesn't do much to Phoenix. It tickles them. It's all about the disable. But look at that, mass transfuse on the Infestor, not enough. It goes down. Its bloody spinal cage, or spinal column comes out. Spinal cage. Hey, it's Zerg physiology. Maybe some of them do have spinal cages and rib spines. What can I say? A rib column. Lurker Den's almost finished. Interesting. So REYNOR's just turtling. He's on 2 gateways right now. He's only just got more gateways finishing up. He's got the Stargate, so he could start a Skytoss transition. Charges on the way as well, +2. Scarlett's economy is just absolutely roaring, though. She's building spines to stop Zealot run-bys, which is great. She's got both Lurker upgrades queued up. I kind of wish with her work account she had a second Evo chamber to add Carapace. I do feel if you're going to sit on this army for a while, having the Carapace upgrades come up is really nice. And it's also really good if you do end up transitioning to the ultimate late game of, you know, Brood Lords coming in along with the Infestor Viper. 3 Vipers, 2 Infestors, pretty good. The Infestors don't quite have fungal energy, though. I think as REYNOR, you just want to preserve that Phoenix count to be annoying. Oh, nice abducts. Abducting 2 Immortals. Juicy kills there. Scarlett only getting 1 of the Vipers feedback. She's got plenty more energy where that came from. How many Lurkers does she actually have, though? 7 are now morphing. Oh, that's a bit of a crazy move. Parasitic Bomb maybe not necessary on that single Phoenix. I think against a player as good as REYNOR, sometimes it's more worth just abducting the Phoenix and actually making sure they die, since he's going to be very good at splitting reactively. Second Evo Chamber's now on the way with the Carapace upgrade, +3 range as well. Scarlett's doing quite good in those terms. Can she finish it, though? Remember, Lurkers don't scale well versus Skytoss. That being said, REYNOR shows no indication of wanting to play Skytoss. He's gone double forge. He's adding plasma shield upgrades. What in the hell sort of game are we watching right now? This is a really interesting one. Nice stasis trap. That blocks her a little bit. There's a decent amount of Storm, but Storm only zones so well. The problem is she's only on 7 Lurkers. I don't think you can break an Immortal Storm army, not with 7 Immortals in it, not with only 7 Lurkers. She needs to morph like 10 more Lurkers, but she's supply capped right now. She's trying to look for a decent angle, and if she ends up getting picked up by the Phoenix, like, Lurkers actually get countered by Phoenix very hard. Her Hydras are out of position. Her Hydras are out of position. That's exactly what I was talking about. You can't be leaving your Lurkers in the open. The Phoenix with a mass disable. She's got to get out of here. She's got to get out of here. I don't think she can win this fight. Parasitic Bomb does go down. Her Viper's flying in. She's going to have to throw another Parasitic Bomb because those Vipers are getting hunted down. She's going to lose the Viper before it can cast it. Okay, she does get one more Parasitic Bomb off before she goes down. At least she's chasing the Phoenix away. But she's got 31 Hydras, 10 Zerglings building. And she does escape with the Vipers as well. Okay, that could have been worse for SCARLETT, but it was still a bit of a problem. Oh, I love these abducts. She gets an Immortal and an Archon from the high ground. She's got a big enough army. There's not much Psy Storm in here. I think only a single Storm available. The Phoenix getting gunned down. Bad attack for REYNOR. REYNOR getting a bit excited here, trying to push in, but he's attacking on creep. SCARLETT's going to 360 this army if he goes any further. He quickly realizes his folly. He pulls back. 10 Zealots are warping in right now. SCARLETT's going to take another Storm. That is the last Storm that he has, though. She's going to run forward. The High Templar starting to get picked off. Her army is very spread. She's afraid to chase into any more Storms that might be backing that up. REYNOR takes a 5th in the north. He's got a Warp Prism on the right side as well. 85 drones for SCARLETT. She's a little gas-starved right now. These gases haven't been mining for as long as I thought. Lurker, Viper, Infestor composition's very expensive. She's trying to make more Lurkers now, but once again, she's stuck without the crazy Lurker growth that I was expecting. I thought we'd be seeing more of like a REYNOR or Dark. Hey, I've got 20 Lurkers, deal with this. And her trying to basically hit that mass 20 Lurker timing before REYNOR got to Skytoss. Instead, we're seeing a REYNOR that does not care about Skytoss. He's only just started his +1 air weapons, but he is instead trying to win with a ground army of Immortal Archon Zealot. And without those air units, you need to keep the Lurker army back, because if the Lurker army gets a really good position, it's like a siege tank or Liberator push, it'll kill you. But as long as you're kind of catching these units out of position, finding them in awkward spots, you can find ways to get towards the victory condition. Warp Prism gets inside the main base. That's frustrating. That's not enough Hydras to kill that. Even if she clicks on the Prism now, those Hydras could go down very easily. They're very fragile. At the front, she's getting overwhelmed. She can't be affording to lose this base. The Lurkers are a little slow to get in position here. Great rotation by REYNOR. She's losing the whole mineral line. Oh no, a whole mineral line and the hatchery are going to go down. Back in the main, it looks like finally that Prism got cleaned up, but that distracted her by so much. That Warp Prism going into the back door, and that really takes the steam out of SCARLETT's sails, takes the wind out of her sails, the steam out of her engine, slows her whole machine down right now. She also doesn't have an Overseer on the front, which means, guess what? Those observers are seeing everything. REYNOR's got the information advantage. He's going to send Zealots in from the left. He's now got a 5th base, which he's already sending a billion workers to. He cancels this one. Check it out, that 5th base is going to be fully saturated in a moment. He's up 20 workers where REYNOR likes to be. He likes to be the rich one who can throw units at his opponent. He runs in and finishes off the 3rd base. You're kidding me. SCARLETT's mining is suffering. She's got more Vipers building, but remember, she's on a defunct composition. He's got those air weapons coming in. He hasn't started the air transition. That +3 weapons, +2 plasma shields is on the way. His upgrades are continuing. And as he starts carriers, I don't know if she's going to have the money to deal with it. He cancels another base in the bottom. She's going to have to just stabilize, trying to retake the 5th base. It's all about hanging on for now and slowing things down. Question is, does SCARLETT think she can take REYNOR down in the late game? How good is REYNOR at the Skytoss game? I think in the ground game, if she just focuses on stabilizing and surviving, she can hang on. But he's got 10 Immortals. He's got a bunch of Archons in Storm. This Hydraling army kind of getting trapped here. You don't really want to run up and siege on top of the Immortals. Oh, REYNOR not watching for a second. Loses an Immortal. On the other side, looks like Zealots coming in. Lurkers are doing some damage to them, but they're running past. Wise moves. SCARLETT losing a bunch of these units on the retreat. It is what it is. A few abducts here could be massive for SCARLETT. Ducks could be massive. SCARLETT's not watching those. She's distracted by the Zealots, and that's unfortunate because now the High Templar are here. Oh, she's missing big opportunities. REYNOR is just keeping her busy with the Zealot harass. He's really creating this tempo style of game. He's using them almost like Marine drops in a Terran vs. Zerg. I think it was like a Reddit comment or something on social media. Someone was saying, you know, I love the way REYNOR plays Protoss like it's a TvZ, you know. He's hitting from all sides. He's trying to force positioning mistakes from the Zerg, catch them out of position here, do some damage, quickly pick up and move to a new location. And that really is, I think, a great explanation of how he does it. He's got one big army he can fight if he has the right angle, but he doesn't really give you an opportunity to choose where and when the fights happen. He's the one who's pushing around, clearing the creep. He's trying to find weaknesses. Scarlett's economy's been low for a while. She's sitting on 60 workers. She's still got some bank. She's massive on the lurker count now, and there's still no carriers. A couple of abducts come in. Unfortunately, there ain't many things that shoot up there for Scarlett. If she can get a few more abducts, it would be great. She needs overseers here. There's 4 observers with this army. She abducts an Immortal and a Phoenix in. They do go down. I love that she's got 4 Vipers. They are going to give her awesome value. Stasis Trap on the high ground on the right side. Army still rotating. 4 carriers are now starting. +2 air weapons almost done, as well as +3 plasma shield started. I love that REYNOR, even though he delayed the transition, when he goes to the carrier transition, he does it hard. And Scarlett, she doesn't want to be investing in Aspire because she's broke. She's only got 67 workers. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, nice abduct there. And REYNOR not watching. Could have got a few juicy feedbacks, but he doesn't land them. Oracle comes in from behind this mineral line. That's annoying. Who thinks to do this deep in the game? REYNOR being a very irritating Protoss player to play against. He's going to take a 6th base down the bottom as well. +3 carapace, +2 melee. 5 more drones building for Scarlett. But she doesn't have a Spire. And without a Spire, how do you react to these carriers? Because they're hiding in the main. There's already 4 out with a 5th on the way. REYNOR's looking to trade some units. She's way out of position. Oh, no. She's very out of position right now. Nothing to deal with those observers. She's going to pull back those lurkers, which I think is a good call. REYNOR's going to have to recall out of here. Kill the base and get out would be the best play. Good feedbacks come down. Only 1 abduct on one of the Immortals. An abduct on an Archon as well, but now all the Vipers are out of energy. The High Templar are absolutely stacked up, filled with juice right now. REYNOR needs to recall, though. He's going to try and engage for a moment. He doesn't want to recall in range of the lurkers. And you know what? He gets almost the whole army out. That was actually a really good extraction. Warps in some Zealots on the bottom. He can send those for a run by. And then he can build more carriers. The carriers are already here. He's actually going to attack with just the first 4 carriers. There's not that many Hydras. Happy to trade his Interceptors for those expensive Hydralisks. Oh, this is really bad for Scarlett. I mean, she's stuck massing Hydras right now. They do have 3-2 upgrades, which is her saving grace potentially, but there's just so few units. She's only got 3 Queens. Her Hydras are getting overwhelmed. Yes, there's very few Interceptors left. But what are you going to do? Abduct these carriers into the 3 Hydralisks to kill them? You're not going to be able to. The carriers can simply walk away. And I definitely feel like in this game, REYNOR has shown an excellent knowledge of how to use ground Protoss. I've always loved ground Protoss. I always felt most Protoss players were a bit too afraid of the lurker and rushed going to Skytoss a bit earlier than they needed to. But rarely do you see someone show such expert knowledge of how to just maneuver this army around. Now, don't get me wrong, there's moments of inattention like that where REYNOR gets a bunch of expensive units abducted and we're like, okay, not so great. But he's got the carrier army up. Zealots in the south finding the Spine Crawlers in the opening as well. There's still 18 lurkers alive, which is great for crushing a ground army. But when you don't have Corruptors, it's just Hydra Viper. As long as you don't let your carriers get abducted, I mean, you're going to wreck. You are going to absolutely wreck using just a mixture of mass carrier, add a Psystorm or 2 on the Hydras, and it'll become crushing in your favor. Psystorm, nice Storm there. Storm Cannon Battery doing pretty well to hold back the advance of Scarlett on the bottom side, allowing the carriers to reposition. And those lurkers ain't finding much. How many Hydras we got? 26, 7 more on the way. So it's going to be about 33 Hydras up against 8 carriers. There's 3 more almost popping, though. I don't know if you can beat 11 carriers, no matter how many Hydras you have, unless you're abducting very nicely. So a lot of things need to go right for Scarlett right now. Hydras are... Oh, man, that's too many Interceptors. She's got to get out. She's got to get out. She can't fight. The Interceptors are pre-launch. She cannot fight this. She cannot fight while the Interceptors are launched. She's got to just turn tail and run. Fighting in the Interceptor range once they're launched like that is so painful. Unless all your Hydras are fighting from the start, that is a very rough one. I mean, she was probably dead anyway, but you got to realize that her Hydras weren't fighting. So I just want to point out the detail there in that final fight. For those who don't realize, the Interceptors launch kind of slowly from carriers. But because they're able to launch here without really being shot down as they launch, there's only 1 or 2 Hydras fighting them. Suddenly they get all the Interceptors out, and then they get to transfer those onto the Hydras and the Overseers, which is why Scarlett needed to just get as far away as possible to break the leash range. Remember, carriers have, I believe it's 8 attack range on the Interceptors, but once they're launched, they can stay up to 12 range. So you need to get 13 range, where you need to be like a siege tank, sieged up firing range away from a carrier to get those Interceptors to be forced to return. So it's really, really scary for SCARLETT there. But either way, like I said, Hydra Lurker is kind of an early late game composition. You do not want to get into a bad spot once they get to Skytoss. REYNOR's Prisms, his Zealot run-bys though, picked her apart. Really good multi-prong by REYNOR. All right, let's go into game 2. We've got SCARLETT on the bottom right side. A rough one dealing with REYNOR. When he gets up to that 4 base income, the man's Zealots are just everywhere. His Immortal Storm army, he's very good at using that army. It's one of my favorite armies as well. And it is why, you know, there's things like big Swarm Host Aggression I would generally like to use against him, but that's why he opens with Phoenix. You go Locust, he's just going to shoot them all down with Phoenix. And he loves these old openings with the 2-star Phoenix. I do wonder sometimes if just doing a maxed out Roach Push beats that. Because the Phoenix do just like run out of energy, right? And there's a certain... If you can just overwhelm the 4th and the 3rd and kill them both with just this gigantic Mass Roachling army, you can do pretty well. But of course, you don't know what REYNOR's committing to ahead of time. And SCARLETT didn't have much time to prepare, so... REYNOR being annoying with his probe. He did block her base, force her to take the 3rd base. Now, what I love to see, we don't see very often these days, is people go Cybercore before gate and really double Chrono Adepts into that 3rd super early. REYNOR's not going to do it. You can see he's just going Nexus here. 400 Mineral Nexus into the Cybercore. It is a 20 Cybercore, not 21. A few players have been going 21 recently, but it's very, very slight. Okay, so that's going to go there. Nice. 3 workers on gas pretty quickly. Looks like he didn't really pull off minerals onto it though, did he? So REYNOR, SCARLETT. I'm already thinking SCARLETT's the goddamn, or REYNOR's the Zerg, and there's a different Protoss. It's like, it's classic or hero or something, right? Nope. I told you guys this would happen in this series. It's inevitable. Always think that. REYNOR is the Zerg no matter what. I don't think we've seen him really excel in PvT ever. Have we seen REYNOR take down a top Terran with Protoss? I know he's taken maps, but has he really beaten like a Bjorn or a Clem or anyone in a series? If anyone knows, let me know on that. Obviously, it would have been back in that period when he was really going hard on Protoss for 3 to 6 months. That would be nice. Oh, hello. Get out of here, mate. Get out of here. SCARLETT's going to chase him off. So she's got her Link Speed on the way. She's going to go for the 3rd base. Very standard opening for... Actually, no, not that standard. She goes 3rd Queen before 3rd base. That's odd. And then the Overlord comes down. Interesting. Obviously, you meant to hit a very slight supply block on 36 as per normal, and she will. But it's pretty damn well timed out. Now, Adepts are being kind of defensive. He's sending an Adept, but it's... I don't know if REYNOR's really committing that much. This second Adept... Is he going to shade it? Shade's ready. Looks like he's going to try and cancel the other shade and go into the 3rd. Not bad call. SCARLETT's well set up, though. She's got 10 Zerglings in a moment, as well as 4 Queens. Second gate goes up at the front. He realizes he misplaced it, so he walls off with a pylon back there. Does give a lot of extra Ling surface area if SCARLETT wants to bust his wall later on, but we'll see if he does end up having to deal with that. As long as he doesn't, I don't think it matters. I mean, a few Lings can squeeze in there, not too much else. And it's very easy to wall off behind that as well. Oh, Lings are out of position. Of course, REYNOR doesn't know that, so it's very dangerous to commit to a shade. First Oracle's coming forwards on the map. Neither side has a lead just yet. Hasn't really been any damage dealt. First Oracle will fly in towards the 3rd base. That's the exposed one. Adept Shade's coming in at the same time. REYNOR's exerting pressure and forcing SCARLETT to be ready on the defense. But so far, she has been very ready on the defense. That being said, no Spore Crawler. Her main is wide open. She's trying to play 7 Queens. But if she loses track and an Oracle gets in her main without her rotating Queens, that's where problems start. Yeah, okay, Spore Crawler going up in the natural. Oracle's going to go for this natural expand. She's got to keep those Queens back on that natural. She's a bit slow to react, guys. Those drones need to run. I like the preemptive drone pull. Ooh, she's a little derpy on the starter step, but as the 3rd Queen comes up, she can kill an Oracle. Yeah, good micro. It's worth losing a Queen to kill an Oracle. Yes, she loses a little bit of mining time as well. She has to send those drones back, but that's all right. Better than taking losses. Evo Chamber's coming up super quick for the melee upgrade. That'll give her the ability to control any sort of Blink Stalker aggression. Chat's pointing out that he did beat Hero Marine with his Protoss. Yes, there was that game Oh, wow, the Adepts just got in and got 4 drones. Oh, damn. SCARLETT moving across the map with the Zerglings. That's a big no-no. This is something we've talked about in the past. You cannot move your Zerglings across the map in PvZ unless you've killed their Adepts, because there's always those 2 Adepts waiting out there. And REYNOR gets 8 worker kills with what? Just 2 sneaky Adepts. She had perfect defense up to that point. She should have been miles ahead. Now, don't get me wrong. She's not behind. She had such a good start. Losing those 8 drones, all it does is give up her advantage. So she's still up like 8 workers right now. Her 4th is a little delayed. She definitely should take that 4th, though. I guess she doesn't want to get it cancelled, which is why she's moving south to take it down there. But I wouldn't mind a macro hatchery or a 5th base for her as well. I think she's pretty rich right now. She's had 62 drones up, you know, way before REYNOR gets there. He's got his Forge on the way and 4 gate, so it looks like he's going to go for Blink Stalkers, maybe go for a bit of an aggressive poke. And 2 Adepts in the south do find that 4th base, but Zerglings are nearby. There's only 6 of them, but there we go. More Zerglings do pop out and a good surround for SCARLETT. She'll take these Adepts out very quickly. So what's the follow-up for REYNOR, guys? 3 pylons go down, a nasty supply block on 85. But he's only on 4 gateways, and I think he's just going to take a very quick 4th. Yeah, he's going to build a cannon, a battery, more Stalkers. Oh, I like the Ling backstab here for SCARLETT. That being said, her Ling count sucks. She's supply blocked right now. Oh, SCARLETT screwing the pooch. She's supply blocked. She should have mass Zergling. Now she's losing more Overlords as they're popping. She just built 10 drones as well. SCARLETT, she's only got 16 Zerglings. Oh, she's going to lose her 4th base. That is just unnecessary. SCARLETT should be miles ahead. She's going to lose it. Can she even defend the next push when he continues from there? I'm not quite sure. REYNOR does lose a probe that was heading towards the 4th. SCARLETT cancels her 3rd. Her Lings aren't able to get any direct damage. She's got a new base coming up on the top, but I think at this point she's going to need a macro hatchery. And yeah, she does throw one down reactively. Hydra Den and Infestation Pit are on the way. She's thinking about playing Lurkers. And those Stalkers and Oracles are here. SCARLETT, she never got a Roach Horn. She played very greedy this game. She could cancel his 4th. That would be great. Charges on the way. A bunch of gateways and a Templar Archives. REYNOR's production sucks. His tech is not that amazing either. His upgrade is quite far ahead, though. As oh, no, she's got melee already. She's swapping to range upgrades now after +1 melee. SCARLETT supply blocked again on 122. She is taking a 6th base up the top, retaking this base on the bottom. But she's super supply blocked right now. And she doesn't realize she's supply blocked. She just built drones. And as these hatcheries are finishing, it's only the hatcheries finishing that are getting her on supply blocked. Finally, she builds those Overlords. There we go. I mean, her Lurker Den's pretty well timed. Hive is not very quick, though. I'd say she's still in the lead in this game because it is Psystorm Stalker, and Lurker wrecks that. The problem is it's only supported by Ling Hydra, and Ling Hydra gets wrecked by Storm just in general. So if REYNOR can get out front of his bases, storm the supporting units down, slow down the Lurkers, I think once again we're in a game where a mass Lurker wave could absolutely ruin REYNOR. He's just vulnerable to it. On the other hand, SCARLETT hasn't shown an indication of wanting to hit a stiff Lurker timing, and I'd love to see her change her mind and say, no, let's do it. Let's get in there when you don't have the response ready. Lings could get a big surround on some of these. These are free damage right here. Gets a cannon, gets a building one. Yeah, she loses a few Zerglings, but I would have loved her to show a bit more decisiveness on the initial wave. Surround the Archon, surround the cannon, split those Lings up. Either way, units lost tab's not too bad for SCARLETT. Her Hive's about to finish. Her main is a bit oversaturated. And she is on 8 gases mining, but actually this 8th one is a little under. Remember, we saw the limited gas in the previous game? We're going to see the same thing this game because, okay, you've got your Lurker Den, you queue those upgrades, but you're going to be making Vipers, Lurkers, en masse. These units are expensive. Infestors are actually amazing versus Stalker Storm because you can lock those units down. And REYNOR's going 2nd Forge and a Robo, so he's planning for a longer game. I don't think he has the best setup. I think SCARLETT could go for 10, 12, maybe 14 Lurkers. At the very least, deny a 5th base, but maybe even smash into one of these cannoned up positions and take it out. She's still not got gases, though. This one is now mining, which is good. She takes another gas down there. +2 ranges on the way. Adrenal, Seismic Spines. I mean, I gotta say, SCARLETT made a few mistakes in the other game, but it doesn't matter. Her beginning was so crisp that look at her supply. Look at her tech. She's coming up in a great position. +2 melee's on the way now. +2 range. Plasma Shield's coming in for REYNOR. He does like to get those Archon upgrades going. Archons are such a big part of Protoss as the game goes on, and the fact that they don't have any armor is usually the one thing that makes them not as god tier as they should be. But the ability to spend almost pure gas on a tanky, splash damage fighting unit. It might not be the most well-rounded fighting unit, but it's good enough in general against Zerg with that bonus first biological, and it costs pretty much only gas, which is what you're mining in the late game when your economy gets low. That's what's so powerful, you know. Zerg and Terran do not have a raw, straight-up fighting combat unit they can build with that. Lurker's position on the left. I like this Lurker positioning. She's going to try and break the ramp. It's a little bit of an awkward spot, though. Oh, Reynor's got to be careful. You don't want to lose those High Templar. One of them goes down. The other one's on the high ground, take a bit of damage. The Lings kind of get in there, but they take a bit. The Lings on the top right, not able to get through the army of stasis traps. Hydra Lings starting to breach the natural, but she hasn't moved up. So this cannon has already killed like 20 Zerglings. I know I'm exaggerating. It's technically 14. There we go. This army comes in with a big flank, and he's going to surround her army. As I said, there's no support. It's just Ling Hydra. It gets obliterated by Storm, and it was only like 9 Lurkers. So SCARLETT 2 games in a row here has made the mistake of she's not going for 20 Lurkers quickly enough. She's spending money on melee upgrades and Spire, but where she needs 20 Lurkers and to get up a choke point. You can't be presenting yourself there where he's able to attack with this big spread across that giant line and also warping units from the left as well. And that's where she just threw away that army because it was only 10 Lurkers. And remember, if you've got roaches in front, it's a bit more tanky line in front for some of the stuff, though not great against Immortals, admittedly. But otherwise, you really need to get up in there and get a very good position. If there was a Lurker harass on the north during that would have been fantastic as well. But REYNOR holds on. Units lost tab looks great for him. And now she's kind of stuck on Lurker tech. She's going to go Greatest Spire. So she's going to make the ultimate anti-ground army, which I really admire. But she's going to be doing it at a slower pace than she otherwise would. Zealots coming in on the north. The Lings are looking pretty good. Remember, these are +2 melee Adrenal Zerglings. Oh, she shouldn't be letting those Zealots escape. There we go. She's going to go after it. Oh, he's in a nice position. Oh, recall. Interesting. A few of those Zealots will go down anyway. Adrenal Zerglings have insane attack speed. REYNOR, stasis traps have mostly expired on the north. He's going to morph an Archon and a few Zealots. Which is going to make this base impregnable. Ooh, probably not a great fight for SCARLETT. She's going to try for it anyway. Brave moves. Lurkers on the south do push back REYNOR. Oh no, this is bad fight. She's attacking the battery overcharge Archon now. And these fights are not going the way SCARLETT's been intending. I feel like these big Ling run bys can do so much damage, but there's an element of finesse in how you execute them that really does matter. Greatest Spire is almost ready, but there's no Corruptors, so no Broodlords can be morphed. Even just 4 or 5 Broodlords could be game changers. Did we just see a carrier start up and then cancel? I think we might have. There's only 1 Stargate, so REYNOR needs to go up to 3 or 4 Stargates if he wants to actually properly transition. Zergling's getting wrecked by the Zealots in the north. Remember, they don't have any carapace upgrades, so they get killed pretty quickly. Lurkers caught out in the open. Those Lurkers need to be in very big numbers or have heavy support. Okay, Lings are going to go for the surround on the Zealot Archon over there as well. Zealot Archon finally gets surrounded, and that's where they do get wrecked. If you get a full surround with the Zerglings, Adrenal Gland does the business. Ling's going to roll in, but plenty of army nearby. Good pullback this time for SCARLETT, not overcommitting. It's at this stage when there's this much static and Zealot Archon, it only really works if you catch REYNOR fully occupied with, say, this mass Lurker army on the other side. But now your Lurker army needs to... I think she could jump on this. Actually, this army's small enough. If she comes in from 2 sides, she could sandwich this army with Lurkers, Lings, everything. She's going to go for it. Go for it. It's worth it. I think that's a pretty decent fight for SCARLETT, but a good reaction by REYNOR. And actually, he has a good angle. Oh, he has a pretty damn good angle. Oh, this is a bad fight now for SCARLETT. Yeah, he actually reacted really well. He kind of set up a good concave. If she came from 2 sides, it's a different story. But when you're only coming from 1 side with the Lurkers, it actually really hurts. And the unit's lost tab. She's lost 18 Lurkers. The Lurkers aren't cutting it anymore. And on the top, look at that. A Zealot Archon Storm army coming in. REYNOR might storm these Lurkers just to tickle them down. Takes off 80 hit points of a 200 hit point Lurker. They are a tanky siege unit. And go up to 4 Stargates. +1 air weapons is finished. +2 attack, +2 plasma shields already done for REYNOR. He's on 90 probes. When he decides to transfer workers to this bottom base, it's going to be instantly saturated. He's got so many extra workers from what you need. That is the way REYNOR plays Protoss, though. Always over-mining on limited bases. And I think it makes sense for Protoss to do that. Very rarely for Zerg and Terran, because they can expand a bit more freely. But for Protoss, where you're worried about exposing yourself to that Zerg multi-prong, oversaturating those bases and taking them a bit slower and only transferring them once that later base is taken is fine. He's a little slow on the transfer nonetheless, though. Let's be real, REYNOR. Just built another probe, which was definitely not necessary. This army's in a good forward position, though, and it feels like Scarlet, she's got 6 corruptors, so she's going to make this ground-pounding army. But I don't know if she can do that now. I mean, I still would make the Broodlords. She's got 30 lurkers. I think what's happened in this series is she took those bad lurker fights, and it's kind of killed her lurker confidence, and now she's overmade lurkers, but she's doing it defensively. You can overmake lurkers and hit a sharp timing and find a good fight. She's kind of doing it on the defense, and oh no, her drones are maynarding through a fight right now. That's not great. The lurkers and the corruptors on this side should be able to defend. Remember, Corruptor Overseer can kill observers, and then there's no way to actually spot you on the ground unless they have any oracles, which, to be fair, there are still 2 oracles alive from the early game. Reynor's been doing an amazing job spamming those stasis traps. She's just not able to find a way to get the hurt back on him. Ever since that first lurker timing is just a little bit too late and a bit too, you know, easy to counter for Reynor. Once he got that first big flank on the early lurker push, that was a problem. If she shoved up his natural ramp a bit harder, I would have liked to see that. A bit more decisiveness from Scarlet on the timing attacks may have exposed weakness with this mass ground into very slow Skytoss style that Reynor's playing. Broodlord's going to pick off a bunch of these. Gets the extra High Templar there, not too bad. Units lost tab's not too terrible, but remember Scarlet's bank is not big either. 3 lurkers and a few spines there. Could get overwhelmed by this northern army. Just depends how well placed the Observer Immortal is. Corruptor's not quite able to get the Observer on the left. Barely survives. Ooh-wee. Okay, Scarlet's creep spread has been knocked back a fair bit. Well, what's the play? Carriers are now out. She doesn't have anything that shoots up. I think she might be screwed because she basically has to split units off to try and do a run by, trade some of these lurkers away, replace them with corruptors. She's making a second spy. She knows it's going to be carriers. She's given him too much time. Even Reynor will get to carriers by this point. They call him Reynor Slow Tech because the man likes to make these mid-tier armies en masse and really develop advantages with them. No one calls him that, by the way, just me, in case you didn't realize. Being a little bit facetious. Me favorite overused word up there with coalesce. Oh, Broodlord's pushing back the Archon. Oh my god, get out of there. Get out of there, lurkers. I mean, to be fair, this is probably good for Scarlet. She's got so many lurkers. Losing 5 or 6 is probably good for her. Down on the bottom, though. If those lurkers get taken out, that's big. But Reynor doesn't know how deep the lurker line is, so he backs off. That's good for Scarlet. She's got 14 Corruptors building. No Vipers, no Infestors. 14 Corruptors can beat 4 carriers, but there's a 5th and a 6th coming, not to mention plus 3 Plasma Shields, plus 2 air weapons done. She will have no flyer armor, just plus 1 air attack. Broodlord's getting jumped on by the carriers. Ground army comes in. Lurkers will shove it back. He's chipping at her, though. And these Corruptors cannot be fighting on their own. No, no, no. Oh, she's rallying Corruptors in. Oh, no. These Corruptors should be hiding behind. They need to all gather before she can fight this. Oh, big mistakes there for Scarlet. She loses, I think, 5, 6 Corruptors already. Great lurker harass for Scarlet comes in. Now she gathers up, but that's still only 6 or 7 Corruptors. The rest is still producing right now. This is a big problem. She's got to get out of here. She's losing even more Corruptors. 10 Corruptors for 1 carrier. That is a massive, massive trade for Reynor using this forward position. He's going to deny this base here as well, and you can tell Reynor's comfort level at this stage of the game. He feels like he has all the advantages. You have to make a big play as Zerg. If you're on a lurker army, it's a early, late game army. It's not an end game army. And as Reynor adds the carriers, you see the lurkers just massively drop in power level. Because suddenly you're like, okay, well, wait, I need anti-air as well. What am I using for that anti-air supply? How do I balance this army? And ZVP is all about timing attacks. And I've always said, you know, Protoss has pretty nice counters to pretty much every Zerg unit if you give them enough time to build it. But it's about timings. It's about the explosive nature of Zerg production. I'm going to make 15 lurkers, and I'm just going to shove it in there and smash. Pig, why is the term maynarding for transferring workers? There was just, it's some dumb story. There was like an old Brood War player who always started transferring his workers. You know, would build extra workers on 1 base or 2 bases and then transfer them to the 2nd or 3rd to be more effective with the mining in that game. We don't really need to call it maynarding. It's just an old habit, just because, you know, the old dogs called it that in the early days of StarCraft 2. I more often than not say transferring these days because it's a more general term, and I think wherever we can steer away from jargon and just use plain English, it's better. Not that I do a great job of that. I know I use a lot of jargon. Spine crawlers get cleansed. Army does get pushed back there. Up in the north, we got the carriers and the High Templar trying to take out yet another base. And Scarlet, she's got Corruptors ready for the dive. But even 1 or 2 storms could ruin her day. Southside Broodlords do come forward. Looks like Blinkstalkers. Are they going to take out 2 Broods? Looks like they already took out 2 Broodlords. The third one barely survives. Viper's coming in. We're going to get a few abducts. There we go. She's got enough to 2-shot. Or almost one-shotting those. I think she could dive on those. With only 2 storms, I think you can spread and dive. I think that would have been a big opportunity to get some much-needed value because her economy sucks. Oh, focus the High Templar. Focus the High Templar. She gets 1. She will lose a Broodlord to a storm, though, which always sucks. And 20 drones went down in the last minute. So, I mean, she's just economically quite dead in the water. Reynor's got tons of money. She needs to not just out-trade him. She needs to absolutely wallop him. She needs to pick up her army and smack him over their head. She needs to cause some splatter. She needs those Protoss brains to get splattered across the walls. There needs to be blue goo all over the shop. Drones are getting pushed back. Broodlords are in the open. Carrier's going to dive. 1 Broodlord dies. Make it 2. Oh, gosh, that's expensive. And the Zealots are getting 15 more worker kills in the main, the natural in the third. Oh, Scarlett knows she needs to win the frontal fight so hard that she tunnel visioned on it. And these Zealots just ripped apart what tattered shreds there are remaining of her already battered economy. This is... Oh, spawning pool's going to go down. Immortal Archon High Templar running it. He just has no fear. And she's got very little anti-ground that's mobile. She's got 15 lurkers, but, you know, she tries to come up with the 2 Broodlords. Another hatchery goes down. And Reynor is bullying her right now. You could tell he feels like he just can't be touched. And I've always said, if you let Reynor get to late game, he looks so powerful. I'll never forget that Pigsty Festival game where Solo was running Mass Muter around, ruining him so far ahead. And Reynor came back from down about 90 supply. And I was like, okay, like Solo's just not going to let this game go past 10 minutes for the next few games. And he didn't. And Solo kind of walloped him. Hit him with a lot of timing attacks, Queen Walks, Nidus, all-ins, big roach shoves. And Reynor struggled to defend it. But if you let Reynor get set up with all the pieces, he has this very nice understanding. As a Zerg himself, who's let the game go too long against Protoss into the late game before, and taken bad trade after bad trade, he kind of understands, hey, if the Protoss sets up really correctly with all these pieces, it's very difficult for Zerg. So his whole CVP from the Protoss side is, well, let's just get to that position and be hyper efficient and have these units that scale incredibly well, like High Templar with Storm and Immortals. Archon's mixed in with those shield upgrades, and it looks really great. Why doesn't Reynor make cannons in mineral lines against lurkers? Well, you can't build it with the lurker there. It'll just die. And even if you do build it in the mineral line, lurkers outrange cannons. So, don't get me wrong. You can put a cannon up here to stop the lurker run-bys. Like here, you could put another cannon down here or something so that the lurkers die running past. You don't want to put it in the mineral line because then the lurker can just burrow there. It can hit the cannon and the workers without getting hit. So building a cannon in the mineral line doesn't really achieve that much, I would say. But in general, being like, oh, wait, they're always going to run lurkers around the top. Okay, we can start putting cannons there. But you could tell initially the cannons were more established in more of a, we're going to be in a position where it's more of like a, you can fall back and defend the base with those cannons against banelings. I think that's Reynor's like default position, is just have a big spread of cannon battery that kind of is in a good position to pair up with your army to kind of help support each other. Scarlett's going to try to play late game now. She's on only 43 drones, so this is a hyper-efficient game she needs to play. She's behind 14,000 resources and units lost, so obviously it hasn't been that way till now, but she's got a giant army. Reynor's got 80 probes. Now, he is building Mass Gateway, which is a pretty good way of just overwhelming her. Oh, and he's even got Zealots in her natural. Oh, God, she's got nothing there to defend? She's going to lose her +2 carapace. You're kidding me. 175 hit points, 10 seconds, 5 seconds remaining. She doesn't... Oh, my God. Denied. About 4 seconds until that upgrade finished. +2 flyer carapace gets denied. She starts it on the other spire. Reynor's coming in on the south, and he's going to have, like, just more ground army overwhelming. You can't be everywhere at once, so as long as he keeps sending Zealots in, I just don't think she can have her lurkers everywhere they're needed, especially with the air army bullying as well. Another hatchery goes down. This base here, look at this, mass cannon battery on the low ground. Basically saying, hey, you can't defend this. And the moment she sees the cannons and the batteries, she's going to have to get out of there. I do like the Vipers here. She gets a few Abducts, grabs 2 Tempests, doesn't take a Storm. Well played by Scarlett, but she's going to need to push this back. Only 1 Tempest right now, so arguably she could start breaking it with Broodlords. Another Abduct goes down. Not the best Tempest micro from Reynor. I want to check Reynor's control groups, because I imagine it's almost all manual, and indeed it is. Oh, good. Oh, no. Scarlet just gets wrecked. This is what happens if there's an arc like that where none of the lurker splash is hitting more than one unit at a time. Splash damage units like lurkers and tanks suck if the enemy are flanking them and spread out in a big line and that sort of stuff, minimizing the splash damage. Enough corruptors to one-shot the carriers. Very good micro on the Viper, but the thing is her lurkers got surrounded on the right side. Reynor's just overwhelming. Infesta goes down as well. Oh, look at this. Oh my god. Oh my god. The lurkers doing pretty big damage. They are doing pretty big damage. The lurkers do go down though. And the Immortal Zealot's cracked into the base. Another Abduct comes in. Another Abduct. Oh my god. She's getting such good bloody Corruptor trades, but she's just taking so much damage behind it. If these Immortals focus fire the tech, I mean, these are losses she can't afford. Remember, Reynor has banks, she doesn't. Oh, big storms do land. She's killed a bunch of the air units, but she's going to have to heal up for a little bit there as well. These Broodlords trying to come in. Oh, the Stalkers! Remember, he built 22 gateways, guys. He catches the Broodlords on their own. He jumps in, and Scarlet, she needs to keep stutter stepping those Broods, but she knows she's done for. She just doesn't have the money to compete with this. And when you go mass gateway, the air army forces the Zerg to invest in this incredibly technical mass corruptor anti-air force. And then they just don't have much supply or money to put towards the anti-ground. You start running in with Zealots and Stalkers, and the things they're using, like Broodlords and Lurkers, aren't very mobile, and they just struggle to deal with this. Reynor looking exceptional in the late game. I think Scarlet had some big opportunities. She did let some of her early advantage slip away, but Reynor's just such a tough cookie to crack. It's so difficult to actually finish him off. He's very confident in how he asserts himself on the map. But I want to point out that I definitely stand by my analysis that not only were her Hives and Lurkers not that quick in these games, but her first big Lurker push in both games lacked punch. And on this case, it was the one where she pushes over here at about 10 minutes 30, I think. Yeah, here we go. It's just not a big army. You might be wondering, what are you talking about, Pig? But look at this army, guys. What is this? It's 10 Lurkers and a bunch of Lings and 2 Hydras. It's not even a you can't even call this a real army. She's on a massive worker count. She's on 7 Queens. And mostly Zerglings. And Zerglings don't really support Lurkers. So I like the idea of punching through and getting Lings into the main in the natural, but he's got Cannon Battery everywhere and Zealots warping in, and she actually doesn't really do any damage with these melee Zerglings. Adrenal and +2 aren't quite done. And then she kind of needs to just get out of here right now, trade the Zerglings off, get more Lurkers, and come back with 20 Lurkers in 1 minute. And if she comes back with 20 Lurkers in a minute, which she has enough gas to do, I think she could absolutely win this game, and at the very least keep him off a 5th base for a long time while she's dominating the map. But the moment she lets him, look at this, Zealots from the left and cannons luring some of the Lurker shots to the left. Comes in with a big storm spread, Archon Stalker spread across this. There's only one Immortal. It's not a great anti-Lurker army. It's mostly Stalker, Storm, Archon, which are all countered by Lurkers, but he simply outnumbers her in terms of the army in that fight, even though the army supply is good for Scarlet, right? Because a lot of it's just Zerglings and units in production and units elsewhere. GG, well played though. Reynor looked fantastic. Really well played by Reynor. GG.